What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka All Fires, and holy smokes, we may have just had a ton of new details revealed about Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and by a very unlikely source. Let me set the scene for you in case you haven't already seen the video clips circulating online. Famous X-Men writer Chris Clairmont was at the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo doing a live panel that streamed for about an hour, and 10 minutes into that panel, he went on a complete tangent that included a ton of spoilery details for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And while the real question is, was he speaking from a place of authority or just regurgitating what he had already read? As the guy who covers this every day, guys, some of these details are brand new and delivered in a way that seems irreverent to the fact that he shouldn't be talking about it, and pretty emphatic in that he knows what he's talking about. We're going to go ahead and issue the normal spoiler warning in case any of this is super accurate, and then of course go through the full list of details that he just revealed about the upcoming Avengers films. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. Thanks to everyone who's been subscribing recently. We are growing at an insane pace. If you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. It's the number one thing you can do to support us as content creators. Plus, stick around to the end of the video. We'll announce a brand new winner for the Thunderbolts tickets giveaway that we're doing all week and talk about all the other giveaway stuff there. Okay, so first up, the normal spoiler warning, because we will talk about why Chris Clairmont would even know some of this stuff in the first place. But if this is in any way going to spoil Doomsday or Avengers Secret Wars, if some of this stuff ends up becoming true and you're susceptible to that kind of thing, only you know. But now would be the time to back out. Come back and see us for a different video. We'll still be here. In the meantime, you've been forewarned, and as I said during the prologue, this just happened at the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo when they streamed a live panel with Chris Clairmont, the guy who wrote on the X-Men for almost 2 decades, from the mid-70s to the mid-90s. And during this panel, he initiates the conversation moving in the direction of the new Avengers films. He steers it that way and starts spouting off details. He starts by saying Robert Downey Jr. is playing both Doctor Doom, but he's also Iron Man, and that's confusing, which could just be taken to mean he's sort of critiquing the fact they brought him back in the first place. But then he emphatically says he's also going to play 2 other roles, very point blank and matter-of-factly. He then says that Chris Evans is playing a young Captain America, an evil Captain America, and then asks Hydra Captain America, again pretty much in a way where he's stating fact, not questioning it. He then goes on to say Elizabeth Olsen will be returning as a good Scarlet Witch, and that Psylocke is coming back, which implies Olivia Munn will be joining the fray of returning Fox X-Men. Speaking of which, he concludes by saying that Wolverine is going to kill somebody important. Okay, so before we comb back through these details with context, 2 things bear saying. The first of which is that context and syntax matter more sometimes than words when people are speaking, especially in a public forum, and there are at least a couple times during his 5 or 6 minute rant where it sounds like he's either asking the audience for validation and if they agree, or maybe regurgitating some stuff that he read. When he says that Robert Downey Jr. is playing Doctor Doom, but he's also Iron Man, that's the first thing he says, and he also throws up his hands as if to ask the audience, do they agree that that's confusing? That's what he says. Well, that's confusing. But then he says emphatically, well, he's going to play 2 other roles too. The context on that, the syntax on that is said very matter-of-factly. He also continues by saying Chris Evans may be playing young Cap, evil Cap, Hydra Cap, and it sounds like he's asking, again, the audience a question. But when he gets to the Elizabeth Olsen Good Witch stuff, or that Psylocke is coming back, this is said very matter-of-factly, without any sort of inclination from the way that he's using a tone in the sentence or body language that he's asking a question or just speculating. Now, the second thing that bears saying is, why in the world would Chris Clairmont, as famous a Marvel writer as he was and from the 70s through the 90s, know any of these details about the script for Avengers Doomsday? If you guys have seen the other clips circulating right now on the press junket for the Thunderbolts, Wyatt Russell and Sebastian Stan got asked point blank if Chris Evans was coming back, and their response was hilarious. They were like, we don't even know what we're doing in this film. We haven't even read a script. So if 2 actors that are starring in it, that are already filming on it, and just days ago didn't know what was happening, how in the world would Chris Clairmont know what was in the script? Well, that's not as unbelievable as you would think, because I would point back to when the Russos directed Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. We know that Jim Starlin, at least in part, was brought in for consulting on the process, some of the CGI. We also know that Jim Starlin starred in the film, and for a movie that is going to revisit the X-Men in a serious way now, joining the MCU, Chris Clairmont might have been invited in that same way, where of course he's not making any final calls or writing the script, but it's like a loose consultation where they may ask him his opinion on a couple of things. And in the case of Jim Starlin, it was because the movies were featuring Thanos, one of his creations, but this movie's instead going to focus on the X-Men. And as I mentioned, and especially from my generation, those Chris Claremont X-Men books were everything. Now look, my skeptical mind always remains skeptical, and as I've mentioned, they've been super tight with the script on this one, so it is very hard for me to believe that he would know this much about specific details in the script. But again, if you revisit the clips and the way that he's delivering this news, it's sort of hard not to take him at face value. So let's run down this list and proceed as if he does know what he's talking about and these details are true. Okay, Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man and possibly 2 other roles on top of Victor Von Doom isn't that big of a surpriser. Let's rewind to the end of Loki Season 1, where Tom Hiddleston was on screen with like 10 other variants of Loki, some of which were him, some of which were completely different and an alligator. So across the multiverse, we already know that these actors can play multiple variants of different characters, and I've always said since day one, it is not mutually exclusive that he's Victor Von Doom and then shows up as Tony Stark at the end. In fact, what a twist that would be, and I've suspected it. So this is not really a surprise at all. Number 2, Chris Evans returning as a young/evil/Hydra Cap. That's probably been the biggest piece of news people have been regurgitating over the last 3 months, and real honestly, what we've been hearing is if we see Chris Evans again in the MCU, it'll be again as Johnny Storm like we just saw him as Human Torch in Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, Elizabeth Olsen returning as a good Scarlet Witch, that's a pretty specific distinction because, again, last time we saw her, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, she wasn't exactly good, but she did have a slight redemption there at the end. But man, Elizabeth Olsen has been extremely candid in that she has no plans to return. In fact, she's working on something else right now while they're filming on Avengers Doomsday, but that doesn't mean she's not coming back for Secret Wars. The fact that he said that Psylocke is coming back is pretty nuts. That's got to imply Olivia Munn, and of course they focused on the older Fox X-Men, but this isn't out of the realm of possibility, and because she was a part of that Apocalypse film, which is so regrettable, I'd love for her to get a shot to come back, and what better chance than now? And then Wolverine's going to kill someone important. Now, the fact that he gets an important kill, that's believable. It's Wolverine, and I also don't put it past him to kill somebody, but the way he sort of states it here, you gotta wonder who he's talking about. And if it is truly an X-Men vs. Avengers film, I wonder if it isn't a super important Avenger. But that update is, of course, way too open-ended for us to try to figure out who they're talking about. Way too many characters involved. Wolverine could end up killing anybody on either side. You guys let me know all your thoughts, though, down below on any and all of these details. Plus, if you've seen the clips, do you think Chris Claremont actually knew what he was talking about? And of all of these details, which ones are you hoping are true? Let me know down in the comments quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff and announce a brand new winner for the Thunderbolts tickets. Okay, the winner from yesterday's video for the Thunderbolt ticket giveaway is Doug Newton. Thank you so much for your support at the channel. Go ahead and DM me on Instagram at IamFires or email me on my business email under the About section or down in the description. We'll get you verified and get the tickets right out to you guys. It's super simple to be entered to win for any of the giveaways. The tickets this week, we'll do a couple more of those and a PS5 giveaway on Friday for the film's drop. If you want to be entered to win, all you got to do, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Remember to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos. And of course, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes under the name All Fires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.